There's something that most women never realize about men. It's not beauty, it's not kindness, and it's not love. What truly makes a man respect a woman, I mean deeply respect her even when she's not around, are three unexpected behaviors that almost no one talks about. Because here's the truth, men don't respect words, they respect energy. They don't listen to what you say, they pay attention to what you tolerate. And once a man feels that he can cross certain lines without consequences, he doesn't just lose respect for you. He starts to see you as someone he can control, test, or even manipulate emotionally. But when you have these three behaviors, something shifts completely. You stop chasing explanations for his distance. You stop begging for attention, and you start noticing how his tone, his eyes, and even his energy change around you. It's like suddenly he looks at you differently, not as a woman he can play with, but as a woman he could lose. Every man, no matter how confident he looks, secretly tests the limits of a woman's boundaries. It's not always conscious, it's psychological. He wants to know if you're strong enough to be respected or too afraid to be left alone. And the way you respond to those tests will define the kind of relationship you have with him. One of respect, or one of submission disguised as love. You've probably been in situations where you felt you had to prove your worth. You texted first, you apologized first, you gave more than he ever did, all hoping that somehow he would see your effort and start valuing you. But that's not how the masculine mind works. The more you try to be understood, the less he feels the need to understand you. Because in his world, respect doesn't come from effort. It comes from mystery, consistency, and strength. And before we go deeper, I want you to pause and ask yourself something. When was the last time you said no to a man and didn't feel guilty? When was the last time you stood firm on something, even when you knew he might pull away? Most women lose respect not because they're weak, but because they confuse being nice with being noble. They think setting boundaries makes them cold, but in the masculine world, boundaries don't push men away, they wake them up. You see, every man, from the quiet type to the dominant one, has a radar. He can feel whether your kindness comes from power or from fear. He can sense when you're saying yes just to keep peace, and when your silence is actually a form of self-control. And once a man realizes that you don't need him to validate you, that you're perfectly capable of walking away, that's when real respect begins. Because respect, for a man, isn't about admiration or agreement. It's about presence. It's the way you carry yourself, the way you say less and observe more, the way you don't chase closure, because you already have peace within yourself. These three behaviors I'm about to reveal aren't about pretending to be strong. They're about being strong, quietly, naturally, and without ever raising your voice. When you master them, men don't see you as an option. They see you as a standard, and that changes everything. So stay with me until the end, because once you understand these three behaviors, you'll stop asking, why doesn't he respect me? Instead, you'll start hearing something far more powerful from every man you meet. I don't know what it is about her, but I can't treat her like everyone else. I used to believe that if I loved deeply, stayed loyal, and gave everything I had, that would be enough for a man to respect me. I thought respect came naturally when you cared, when you supported him, when you listened to him, when you made him feel special. But what I learned later was painful. Men don't respect you for loving them. They respect you when you love yourself enough to walk away when they stop deserving it. There was a time when I was in a relationship that looked perfect from the outside. He was charming, smart, ambitious, the kind of man that makes everyone say, "You're so lucky to have him." But what people didn't see were the small moments that slowly chipped away at my confidence. The jokes that weren't really jokes. The last-minute plans that always came before mine. The way he'd disappear emotionally and return acting like nothing happened. And every time he pulled away, I tried harder. I gave more, listened more, and tried to be more understanding. I thought that being patient was a sign of emotional maturity. But what it really showed him was that my love was unconditional, even when he stopped showing effort. One night, I remember sitting alone in my car parked outside his apartment. I had driven there after we had another argument, one that ended like all the others, with him saying, "You're too emotional," and me apologizing for feeling things too deeply. I sat there holding my phone, staring at his last message, and for the first time, instead of crying, I asked myself a question I had never asked before. Why am I trying to convince someone to respect me? That moment changed everything, because I realized something powerful. Respect isn't given when you demand it. It's earned when you stop needing it. And from that day on, I decided to do something different. The next time he ignored a message, I didn't double text. When he made a sarcastic comment, I didn't laugh it off. When he canceled plans, I didn't rearrange my schedule. I simply stopped participating in my own disrespect. And what happened next shocked me. He noticed. The same man who used to take days to reply suddenly started texting first. The same man who never said, "I miss you," suddenly wanted to see me more often. But the most surprising thing was that I no longer cared about his attention, because for the first time, I had mine. When you change your energy, you change everything. You stop trying to prove your worth and you start realizing it. And that's when men start feeling something they can't explain. A mix of curiosity, admiration, and fear. Because when a woman no longer needs validation, she becomes unpredictable. And unpredictability to a man is power. From that experience, I started observing the same pattern in other women. The ones who always gave second chances, who justified his coldness, who thought that understanding him was the way to win him back, they all ended up drained, confused, and invisible. But the ones who stayed calm, who didn't chase, who didn't argue every time they were disrespected, those were the women men came back to. Not because they were manipulative, but because they projected strength in silence. Respect is never built in chaos. It's built in quiet moments, and when you don't react, when you don't explain, when you simply let your actions speak for you. And that's when I realized the truth that every woman eventually learns, one way or another. Love makes him stay for a while, but respect makes him stay for good. From that day on, my relationships changed completely. I no longer begged for effort. I no longer explained my value. I simply became a woman who expected what she deserved and accepted nothing less. And it's not arrogance, it's awareness. It's the moment you stop trying to be understood by men who are not ready to meet you at your level. Because once a man feels that your peace matters more than his presence, something inside him shifts. He realizes that your world doesn't collapse without him. And for the first time, he starts asking himself, what would it take to truly deserve her respect? That's where everything begins. The transformation that separates a woman who is tolerated from a woman who is valued. And that transformation always starts with these 3 unexpected behaviors. Let's start with something that might sound counterintuitive. Men don't respect women because they're always kind, loving, or available. They respect women who make them earn access, attention, and peace. Because to a man, what is easily given loses value, but what is quietly guarded becomes sacred. These are the 3 unexpected behaviors that create that sacred respect. The first behavior is emotional control, not emotional coldness. Control. When a man says something that hurts you, and instead of reacting immediately, you pause. That silence hits him harder than any angry words ever could. When you don't raise your voice, when you don't fight for his validation, when you simply breathe and step back, you send a powerful message. My peace is not up for negotiation. Men live in a world of constant competition, pressure, and noise. They're used to women who mirror that chaos, who fight back, who explain, who demand to be heard. But the woman who doesn't feed the noise stands out instantly, because her calmness feels different. It feels mature. It feels like power. And here's the secret. A man might not understand it logically, but emotionally, he respects it deeply. He might even test it at first. Push your buttons, provoke your emotions, see how far he can go. But when he sees that you don't lose your center, that your energy doesn't depend on his behavior, he realizes that you're not in his orbit. You're your own universe. And that's when he starts orbiting you. Now, the second behavior is selective availability. This one surprises a lot of women because society teaches us to show love through constant presence, texting back quickly, always being there, proving loyalty through availability. But here's what most don't realize. Constant availability doesn't communicate loyalty. It communicates boredom. When a man knows you'll always be there, he subconsciously relaxes. Not in a good way, in a way that makes him take you for granted. But when you become unpredictable, when sometimes you're busy, when sometimes you don't respond immediately, not to play games, but because you have a full life, he starts to chase balance. Men respect women who have purpose. When your attention feels earned, he becomes more intentional with his. When you don't rush to reply, he starts thinking about what he'll say next. When you don't clear your schedule for him, he starts aligning his to yours. The energy shifts. You go from being his option to being his priority. Because men value what they must rise to meet. And that's why selective availability isn't about manipulation, it's about communication. It silently tells him, My life is full, and your place in it depends on how you treat me. It tells him that your happiness doesn't depend on him, and that independence creates attraction rooted in respect. Now, the third behavior, and this one is the most unexpected of all, is detached forgiveness. And no, that doesn't mean tolerating bad behavior or excusing what's wrong. It means mastering the art of letting go without drama. When a man realizes you can forgive him without begging him to stay, he feels something he doesn't often feel: accountability without control. Because in that moment, he sees a kind of strength he can't manipulate. Most women, when hurt, either explode or collapse. They cry, argue, or demand closure. But the woman who forgives and walks away peacefully leaves an echo in his mind that never really fades. Because she didn't punish him, she didn't chase him, she simply removed herself. And that kind of grace is unforgettable. Detached forgiveness means saying, I accept that you showed me who you are and I'm choosing peace over pain. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. It tells him that you don't hold grudges, but you also don't reopen doors that led to chaos. And for a man, that combination, empathy with limits, is magnetic, because it's rare. Every man will meet different kinds of women in his life. The emotional one who loves deeply, but loses herself. The distant one who protects herself so much that no one gets close. But the woman who embodies these three behaviors, calm emotional control, selective availability, and detached forgiveness, she's the one who earns both his respect and his reflection. He starts treating her differently, not because she asked him to, but because her energy forces him to rise. He watches his words more carefully. He makes more effort. He starts doing the things she used to do, planning, initiating, showing care, because she set the tone. That's the hidden beauty of respect. It doesn't demand, it inspires. You don't have to shout, chase, or prove anything. You just become the woman whose silence has more power than another woman's arguments. The kind of woman whose absence feels heavier than another woman's presence. And the truth is, once a man respects you at that level, love becomes secondary. Because even if feelings fade, even if life changes, the respect he has for you will always make him think twice before crossing that line again. Because in his memory, you're not the woman who begged, you're the woman who walked away with peace. Here's what most women never realize until it's too late. When you don't practice these three behaviors, a man doesn't stop loving you right away. He just starts loving you less consciously. The respect fades slowly. At first, he still says he cares, but something in his tone changes. He stops listening as much. He starts cutting you off in conversations. He looks at his phone while you talk. You start to feel that quiet shift, the one where you go from being his priority to being his background noise. And it doesn't happen because he met someone else. It happens because he stops seeing you as a challenge. The moment a man realizes that no matter what he does, you'll stay, he starts testing how much you'll take. He cancels plans. You forgive him. He flirts with boundaries. You justify him. He goes silent for days. You reach out first. And with every small act of tolerance, you teach him something dangerous. My comfort matters more than her self-respect. It's not that he's evil. It's human nature. Men respect what's rare, and they relax around what's certain. If he knows your heart will always be there, he stops earning it. And once he stops earning it, he starts exploring what still makes him feel alive. That's when attention fades, affection cools, and your emotional world starts spinning around his mood swings. You start asking yourself, what did I do wrong? Why is he distant? But the truth is, you didn't do anything wrong. You just forgot to do something right, to protect your energy. To remind him that access to you is not a lifetime membership. It's something he must renew with effort, consistency, and respect. Without those boundaries, love turns into imbalance. You start over-giving, over-explaining, over-trying. He starts under-investing, under-communicating, and under-caring. Until one day you realize that the woman you were at the beginning, confident, calm, and radiant, has been replaced by someone constantly walking on eggshells. You start living in reaction to him instead of in alignment with yourself. And that's where the emotional damage happens, because a man can sense when your energy shifts from grounded to desperate. He might not say it, but he feels it. And once he senses that he's become your emotional center, his respect begins to die. Men fall in love with women they admire, but they lose attraction for women who make them the center of their world. Not because they're cruel, but because it goes against their biology. Men are wired to pursue. They need to feel that your energy is slightly ahead of them, not completely wrapped around them. When you stop embodying that balance, everything changes. The communication becomes inconsistent. He starts giving excuses instead of effort. And the worst part, you start making excuses for him too. You say things like, "He's just busy," or "He's not good at expressing emotions," when deep down, you know what's really happening. He's comfortable, too comfortable, and comfort kills respect faster than distance ever will. When a man knows that no matter what he does, you'll always forgive him, he starts using your love as a shield, not as a connection. He stops being careful with his words. He stops being accountable for his actions. And eventually, he'll even start to resent the same woman who once made him feel admired. That's why emotional control, selective availability, and detached forgiveness are not just behaviors. They are protection. They protect your dignity, your energy, your essence. They make sure that the version of you that he first fell for never disappears under the weight of trying too hard. Because the truth is, when a woman loses her boundaries, she loses her magic. She starts to glow less. She laughs less. And the man, without even realizing it, starts to feel that loss too. But by then, it's usually too late. Because once respect is gone, it almost never comes back the same way. You can rebuild connection, yes. You can rebuild communication. But respect, that silent admiration that makes a man see you as someone to protect and not to test. Once it's broken, it takes an entirely new version of you to bring it back. That's why the urgency is now, not after another argument, not after another "I'll change." Now is when you take back your peace. Now is when you decide to stop begging for understanding and start embodying it. Because when a woman masters these three behaviors, she doesn't just change how men treat her, she changes how she treats herself. And that's the beginning of everything. At the end of the day, every woman faces a moment of choice. It's that quiet, invisible turning point where you either keep proving your worth or finally remember it. Because love without respect is just attachment. It keeps you close but never safe. It makes you wait for messages that never come, analyze silences that were never meant to be explained, and try to heal wounds that were never yours to carry. But when you shift from wanting to be chosen to wanting to be respected, your entire world changes. You stop chasing clarity and start giving consequences. You stop asking, "What did I do wrong?" and start asking, "What am I tolerating?" You stop hoping he'll change and start realizing you don't need to convince anyone of your value. You just need to stop offering it to people who can't see it. And that's when something powerful happens. You start walking differently. You speak slower. You smile less. But when you do, it means something. You stop over-explaining your feelings because peace has replaced your need for approval. You become harder to impress, not because you're cold, but because you finally understand your own warmth. The woman who embodies those three behaviors, calm emotional control, selective availability, and detached forgiveness, doesn't play hard to get. She is hard to lose, because her energy carries quiet confidence, the kind that makes men reflect, even months later, about what they lost and why they can't replace it. That's the kind of woman you're meant to be, the kind who doesn't react to disrespect, she removes herself from it, the kind who doesn't explain her boundaries, she lives them. The kind who doesn't chase attention, she attracts alignment. And once you become that woman, every man who crosses your path will feel the difference. Even the ones who don't know how to name it will sense it. He'll start speaking more carefully, standing a little taller, showing more consistency, because your presence demands it without saying a single word. That's the beauty of true feminine power. It doesn't roar, it radiates. It's not loud or loud-spoken, it's felt. It's the kind of presence that reminds every man of the kind of woman he can't afford to lose. So if you've ever felt unseen, unheard, or unappreciated, let this be the moment you reclaim that power. You don't have to change who you are. You just have to unlearn the habit of overgiving. Start today. When he crosses a boundary, stay silent. When he disappears, don't chase. When he returns, observe. Don't instantly forgive. Because the woman who knows her worth doesn't need to prove it through reaction. She proves it through restraint. And if you apply these three behaviors, emotional control, selective availability, and detached forgiveness, you won't need to ask, "Will he respect me?" You'll feel it, in his tone, in his consistency, in his effort. And even if he doesn't, even if he walks away, you'll realize something far more important. You don't need a man to respect you in order to live in peace. You only need to respect yourself enough to stop settling for less than what you truly deserve. Because once you do, you won't just attract men who value you. You'll repel the ones who never could. And that's when love finally becomes what it was always meant to be. A choice made from freedom, not from fear. So the question now isn't whether men will respect you. It's whether you'll respect yourself enough to stop teaching them that they don't have to. The moment you decide that, everything else aligns. Because the truth is simple, and you'll remember this line for the rest of your life. Men don't respect women who try to please them. They respect women who know they don't need to.